What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, The Fridge. I'm back. Put me on a milk carton, put me on a t-shirt, do whatever you want to me. I'm back. I know I was missing, but I'm back. So today I want to talk about the UFC 310 card. I want to give you my official predictions for it. From the very beginning of the early prelims to the main event. I got something a little bit spicy for you there. And everywhere in the middle. So without further ado, let's do this. Start at the very bottom here. Kennedy Nzechukwu. Why can't I say that? I can say it in my head. I can't say it out loud. Nzechukwu. Whatever. Via Lucas Brzeski. Dude. Stop. I'm going to take Kennedy Nzechukwu. Nzechukwu. What the fuck? Yeah, I'm going to take him via KO. He looked pretty good. I know that it was like a 30-second fight, but he looked good in his last fight against Tubby McTubberton. So I'm going to take him. I just think he looked good. His move to heavyweight was clever. I don't think Brzeski is a big heavyweight either, if I'm correct. I don't know. Oh, it probably says it here if I click on him. What is happening right now? Okay, there we go. He's 238, so he is pretty big, but he's not much bigger than Kennedy. Anyway, yeah. So I got Nzechukwu by KO. Probably second round. I don't know. I don't know what kind of power he has in his hands. He obviously won due to a knee injury or Achilles or whatever. I don't think we ever heard about what happened. But Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. I have Chase Hooper by sub. If you look at Clay Guida's last couple fights, he lost, I don't know, 2 of them, and then won one, and then lost another one, and then won one, and then lost. And I mean, he's been on like a every other streak since God knows when. So I don't know. I just don't see him winning. I don't. I think he's gonna lose via sub. Honestly, I just think Chase Hooper is better. If you look, 50% of Chase Hooper's wins, which to be fair is only I don't know what, 7 wins. I mean, I guess that's kind of a lot, but how many of those are actually in the UFC? I don't know. How long has he been in the UFC? Quite a while. Good for him. Anyway, so Chase Hooper, a.k.a. Ben Askren's son, is going to tap out Clay Guida. Plus, Clay Guida lost all of his aura when he cut his hair. So, it's pretty much over for him. Next fight, Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. I have Michael Chiesa via sub. That's just what he does, right? He's just kind of a submission guy. I just feel like Max Griffin's gonna just do something dumb and get his head caught and get guillotined or something stupid, or give up his back or something like that. Next up, Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. I have Joshua Van. I have him via KO. He's looked pretty good in his last few fights. I don't know. Edgar Shiraz. What happened to that fight? That fight didn't happen. Must be. But he's looked okay. He lost to Charles Johnson, but I mean, I don't know. It's not that bad, I guess. It was a 3rd round KO. So, you can kind of, those are the sort of ones you live with. I think that this fight is going to kind of represent, whether he's here to stay or not. Cody Durden is obviously a ranked flyweight, and so, he's on a 1-fight win streak. It's nothing crazy. I'm actually surprised he's ranked because of the kind of the way that it's. I mean, I understand he had a little bit of a win streak here. He beat somebody that Joshua Van has lost to. So, but I mean, that was August 2023. It's now December 2024 as I record this. So, I mean, it could go either way, but I think Joshua Van probably gets it done. Next up, Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. This is a catchweight bout, so we have a 202-pound Chris Weidman versus a 210-pound Eric Anders. I don't know if I think they weighed in today. No, they weigh in tomorrow. I don't know. Depends on when you see this, right? So I think they might both be a little heavier than that. I don't know exactly what the catch weight is. 195-pound catch weight. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that kind of favors Weidman because he doesn't really have to cut anything, and he's sort of a bigger guy in that middleweight division. So he's probably more of a light heavyweight, to be honest. Even though he's a little bit older. I mean, he's not stupid old, but he's older. You know what I mean? He's where are we? He's 40. So like he is stupid old. I thought he was 38, but I guess it's not that big a difference anyway. But yeah, I think he gets it done. I have down via eye poke, so I mean, let's be honest, it's exactly what's going to happen. We all know it. Next up, Randy Brown versus Brian Battle. I have a tough time in this one because I just feel like Randy Brown would just come out and starch Brian Battle in like 5 seconds. Excuse me. But I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about it. Randy Brown, what fight was it that I watched where I was like, damn. I can't remember when I watched him, but I remember, I think it was his last fight. I was just kind of surprised by the way that he was fighting. I thought he came out a little bit more aggressive than I expected him to, which I guess is kind of what he does anyway. But Brian Battle, probably I still have via KO. He's got 4 wins by knockout, 6 by submission, but if you look at his last few fights, he hasn't fought anybody crazy. He did lose to Fakardinov, who just got robbed against what was that guy's name? Or no, won a robbery, against Carlos Leal. So that's right. I had him picked to win that fight, and he lost it, and I still was correct. So that was cool. Yeah, I have Brian Battle by KO. Next fight, which I understand it. Like, I guess I get it why this fight is here on the card. I don't love it. I think it's a little bit disrespectful to the number 5 and number 9 featherweights in the world, but number 5 Movsar Evloev versus number 9 Aljamain Sterling. First of all, Aljamain Sterling 2 fights ago was a champion in the UFC, and so I just think that this position on the card is honestly disrespectful. I get it, all right? He's fucking boring. But, like, 2 fights ago, he was the champion and lost to Sean O'Malley, who then went on to have 1 title defense and lose to Merab, who is actually part of one of my picks coming up, which is weird. But he beat Peter Yan questionably. He beat TJ Dillashaw with 1 arm. He beat Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo was, in all fairness, coming off of a 3-year layoff, and that's, I mean, I don't know. Cejudo kind of got dominated. Listen, Cejudo hasn't looked great, but he's maybe the best combat sports athlete of all time. If not the best, one of the best. And so, having beaten him 3 fights ago, and then he won the first round against O'Malley, which is kind of impressive, considering that Chito Vera, who was considered at the time to be one of the better bantamweights in the world, couldn't win like any rounds against Sean O'Malley. And then in his last fight, he beat Calvin Kattar, UFC 300, and hasn't really been heard from much since. But for him to be a sandwich between Randy Brown and versus Brian Battle and Vicente Luque versus Themba Gorimbo is kind of ridiculous. Anyway, I have Aljo via decision. I don't know. I just think he's more of a proven fighter. Yeah, Arnold Allen is a really, really good win. Diego Lopez is a really good win. Dan Ige is a really good win. But, I don't think that these guys compare to Aljo's wins. I don't. I don't know. I just don't. I think that Arnold Allen's a better win than Calvin Kattar. But are any of those guys a better win than Henry Cejudo? No. Are any of those guys it was a split decision, so it's kind of hard to flex it, but are any of those guys a better win than Corey Sandhagen in 1 minute and 28 seconds via submission? You know, the guy who Umar couldn't tap in 5 rounds? I get it. All right, Sandhagen's not... He didn't look good in that fight. Umar dominated him the whole fight, but Sterling tapped him in 1 minute and 28 seconds. He beat Jan in the rematch. I don't know. I get it. TJ Dillashaw is kind of an asterisk. Cejudo's a question mark, I think, more than anything. Calvin Kattar's not the best win in the world, but I don't know. I think Aljamain Sterling is being way disrespected. I thought it was kind of crazy that his fight with Calvin Kattar was on the prelims of 300. And that's, he's now on the prelims of 310 under Vicente Luque. He's fighting before Anthony Smith. That's crazy. Anyway, next fight. Number 14, welterweight Vicente Luque. He was supposed to fight Nick Diaz, and he's not anymore. He's fighting Themba Gorimbo, who I have via unanimous decision. Let's just look at Vicente Luque's record really quick. Vicente Luque is one of those guys that used to come in and he'd swing for the fences and he'd do all this crazy stuff, and he's a guy you like to watch, but I just think at this point, Buckley knocked him out. Jeff Neal knocked him out. I mean, he beat Dos Anjos, but that's not looking like a very good win at this point. Belal'd him. He beat Tyron Woodley in 2021, a year before he got knocked out by Jake Paul. Okay, cool. He looks like he's on drugs on that. He beat Randy Brown. He beat Nico Price. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I don't think he's that good. I don't. I'm sorry. I think he's got a kind of a glass chin now. He used to be Mr. Violent, right? He was like I don't want to call him the Justin Gaethje of welterweight, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't know. I have Themba Gorimbo. I think Themba Gorimbo, not that he has better, more proven wins than Vicente Luque does, but he beat Nico Price this year. He beat Brahimaj, Rodriguez. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think he's gonna get it done. I don't know. I think he's the favorite. Yeah, he is the favorite. So I don't know. I'm not the only one. Shut up. Dominic Reyes versus Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith fighting on almost the main card of a pay-per-view on the big 2024, huh? We're almost in 2025. This is, I believe, no, this is not the last pay-per-view of the year, is it? There's another one. Yeah. It is. Wait. Makhachev versus Saryukin 2? Huh? Since when? What? Merab versus Umar? What? Oh my god. What? When was this announced? It's literally the first thing on my Twitter feed. Alright, we're going to talk about that another time. Wow, okay. Anyway, that's in January. So this is the last pay-per-view of the year. And it's as close as you can come to him being almost on the main card of a pay-per-view in 2025 is my point. So I'm not even going to give you... I almost don't even want to give you my pick, but I have to. It's Reyes via whatever he wants. knockout probably in the first round. Anthony Smith sucks. When was the last time Anthony Smith has a good win? Petrino? No, he's not good. 11-1, yeah. 11-1, but like, against who? Against literally who? I don't care. He got whipped by Roman Dolidze. He got whipped by Roundtree. He beat Ryan Spann. Got beat by Johnny Knock Me Out for Fun Walker. I mean, he got beat by Ankalaev. That's not that bad. I mean, Ankalaev's pretty good. And you beat Spann again. He's just racking up wins versus Ryan Spann. Who, by the way, I mean, yeah, he beat OSP. But that's OSP. Like, no. Stop. Anyway. Oh, wrong page. So yeah, no, I think it's pretty, simply put, it's Reyes by whatever he prefers. This guy beat John Jones, by the way. Don't forget that. He lost to Ryan Spann, so. Jesus Christ. I forgot about that. That is dog shit. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, no, it's Dominic Reyes by whatever. He got thrown into the fire after he lost to John Jones, but he's back on the wagon now, and it's Dominic Reyes by whatever he wants. Next fight, I have Nate Landwehr versus Doo-Ho Choi. I have Landwehr by KO. I don't know why, honestly. To be completely honest with you, I actually don't. It's weird. I'm picking him. I don't know if he's gonna win. He might not win. I think maybe he won't. I get it. Doo-Ho Choi is like decent and everything, but I don't know. I don't really trust him. He just doesn't have a lot of fights lately, so I'm gonna assume that the rust is going to need to be kicked off, and I just think that in the time that it takes him to kick off the rust, like, yeah, I mean, he lost against Dan Ige, but like that's a good loss, you know. But other than that, he's done pretty well for himself back to 2021. Like, the last few years, he's been active and he's been solid. So, I'm going to take Nate Landwehr via KO. Next fight, I have Bryce Mitchell via unanimous decision against KRON GRACIE. KRON GRACIE is on the main card of this pay-per-view. And Aljamain Sterling, who beat Henry Cejudo, is 3 fights down on the prelims. So, whatever. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it. A minus 800 favorite. Like, nobody on a main card of a pay-per-view should be a minus 800 favorite. Bryce Mitchell by unanimous decision because KRON GRACIE has like 7 MMA fights ever. And his last fight was in 2023, May, and he lost to Charles Jourdain. And then he lost to Cub Swanson in 2019. 2019, he lost to Cub Swanson. Think about this. You know how many fights Cub Swanson's had since then? Oh my god. Dude, it's Cub Swanson. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights Cub Swanson's had since then. That's KRON GRACIE's second to last fight. Before that, I don't even know what happened here. I don't even know who won. It doesn't even say. I don't even care. It doesn't matter. KRON GRACIE is going to get killed. Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov. So, I want to pick Alexander Volkov because I saw the fight that he had with Pavlovich. But then I remember the fight that he had with Pavlovich. And I recall that Pavlovich literally just tried to take his head off the whole fight, and he just wasn't able to. He found somebody his size. He did the same thing with Tom Aspinall, too. Pavlovich lost all of his aura, so he's basically done. He'll retire soon, I'm sure. He's Russian, so maybe he'll just fight forever, but get his ass whipped forever. And then he beat Tai Tuivasa, which looks like a really bad win at this point, because like, you know, Tai isn't very good. Alexander Volkov win is aging decently. Rosenstrike's aging well. The Aspinall loss honestly looks pretty good because he lasted 3 minutes and 45 seconds, which is like longer than, his last 2 fights combined or something. So, yeah. But I'm going to take Cyril Gane I think he's going to decision him. I don't know. I think it's going to be a leg kick battle. And I think Cyril Gane's going to win that early. And it's going to sort of hinder Volkov's movement. And it's going to kind of stop him from just picking apart Cyril Gane on the feet with the boxing. So I think Cyril Gane's going to win this one. And I think that fight might put him back into title contention, really. Because, he's number 2 in the world. Volkov's number 3. Whatever happens between Jones and Aspinall, which makes me want to shoot myself, once that shakes out, it's really who else if Cyril Gane wins this? You know what I mean? Jones has kind of fought everybody else. So, yeah, I think it'll be Cyril Gane's time to get a title shot again, hopefully, for him. I don't give a shit. Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Machado Garry. I think that this fight is actually kind of not, like, okay, let's compare Shavkat and Ian Garry really quickly. Shavkat has beaten Wonderboy. He beat him via submission, so, like, the easiest way in the world to beat Wonderboy. Beat Jeff Neal by submission. Beat Neil Magny by submission. And then before that, it's like a bunch of absolutely nobodies. So, like, yeah, his submissions are great. And I understand that his striking's good, too. He's finished every one of his fights. He's got a bunch of KOs. He's got subs. Excuse me. He's got everything you could possibly ask for. But first of all, he's got 6 UFC fights. I get it. He's got 9 first-round finishes. He's got all this stuff. But then you go over and you're like, well, that's pretty good. Those fights are decent, And then you look at Ian Garry's fights and you're like, oh, MVP. Like, he's a good striker, and he neutralized it. I understand people think that win is controversial. I don't know. It's fine to me, really. He was threatening chokes. He was doing whatever. I'm not trying to be a cuck supporter or anything, but I think that was a fine fight. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was a great showing. He got outstruck, but MVP is like a one-of-one striker in the world, so you let that one go. Then he beat Jeff Neal. Okay, that's familiar. Then he beat Neil Magny. Okay, that's familiar. I will admit, he's not beating these guys in the same way that Shavkat was, but he's beating the same guys. And then he beat Rodriguez. And then it's kind of the same thing, where it's like, okay, these guys are pretty much nobodies, but I think Rodriguez is a good win. It's better than any of the other wins other than Wonderboy that, I think it's funny because you have, like, the one-of-one striker, Wonderboy, and then MVP, and then you have Jeff Neal, Neil Magny, and then nobody's basically. But Rodriguez is a good win. Like, Daniel Rodriguez has actually looked solid since then. I know he lost to Kelvin Gastelum, but, I thought that this fight against Morono wasn't quite as close as they called it. I thought that Rodriguez looked really good. So, that's my take on that. I am going to take Shavkat, but I'm going to take him by KO. I don't think he's going to be able to submit Ian Garry like he's been submitting everybody else. He's been working with Charles Oliveira. He's been living in Brazil. He's been training jiu-jitsu. They're basically the same size. I think Shavkat's maybe a little bigger. He's from Uzbekistan, so it ends in Stan and his name ends in Ov. He's obviously going to win, but I don't know. I think that you have 2 really good undefeated prospects, and I think that whichever one of these guys wins might actually beat Bilal. Like, I think that Shavkat beats Bilal for sure. But I also think that if Ian Garry's able to beat Shavkat, then there's no reason to say he can't beat Bilal. So I think either one of these guys are probably your next champion at welterweight. I think that the fact that JDM didn't take this fight tells me that he's probably not going to get a title shot next, even though maybe he deserves it. But I don't know. I could see it going either way. I think that if it's like a controversial Garry win, you can't give the title shot to either of these guys, and you can give it to JDM. But if either of these guys win convincingly, you got to give them a title shot. So that's who's next. I think it's Shavkat, but it could be Ian Garry. I wouldn't be shocked. All right. I think that this is going to be a pretty big upset. I think Kai Asakura wins, and I'm going to tell you why. I saw the video, just like everybody else did, of him training with Merab. Now, there's a new twist on this because Merab is about to fight Umar in January, so we'll see. That's crazy to me. I had recently searched it up.
What? Oh.
You saw that just like I did. I get it's not like his craziest. I don't know what Kai Asakura's record actually is. But I know that, first of all, I'm pretty sure he's a champion. So that's good. You know, it's like a pretty good thing to be. But it's so hard with all these stupid. Yeah. He is. So, yeah. He won the title in his last bout, but he won via knee to the body. That's crazy. He won his last 2 fights by knee to the body. That's insane. The one thing I think could happen, which I think people are talking about enough, but I might be a little overblown. Asakura is coming from somewhere in Japan with Ryzen where you can kick people in the head when they're laying on the ground. And so I'm concerned that he'll like knock Pantoja down because he'll neutralize his wrestling, and I think it's basically going to be a striking affair. He'll knock him down and then kick him in the fucking head, take his head off, maybe retire him, you know, because that's what soccer kicks kind of do. But it won't count as a win, and Pantoja will keep his belt, and he'll never get another title shot again because he just kicked the champion in the head while he's laying on the ground. But honestly, I don't know. I think that I don't know. I don't have any more evidence. I haven't watched a ton of tape on Asakura. I mean, I've seen his highlight reel, but that's it, basically. I just think that if he can really do the shit that he was doing to Merab in this video, and I don't know when this was, but if he can do this to Merab, who's like, he's Merab, I mean, he bullies everybody, right? Like, he made Cejudo look like a fool. If he can do this to Merab, I get it's in sparring against a guy who's not really a great striker, and they're not trying to knock each other out, blah, blah, blah. But, I don't know. If you can do that to Merab, I'm pretty convinced that he'll be okay with Pantoja. I think Asakura is going to win. I think there's a reason they threw him in the title fight right off the bat. I don't think he's anywhere near like a bottom of the barrel type flyweight. I think Pantoja probably, I don't know. I think the Royval fight was ridiculous to me. But whatever. That's it. That's all I got. I guess I have to make a separate video about 311. Cause this. Lightweight's no longer held up, and neither is bantamweight. That's gonna be a good card. You have Jamal Hill and well, it's right here. Jamal Hill and Yuri, Jelton Almeida and Sergey Spivak wrestle match. You know what I mean? It's like WWE. Kevin Holland's fighting. If you might be able to hear him chirp, depending on how quiet the arena is, depending on how boring the prelims are. So who knows? This could be. I don't know if this is this confirmed? I don't see that. Okay. Anyway, that's it, guys. Catch me later. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Drop a sub. Appreciate it. Peace.